Hello there, my extraordinary and hardworking friend. I just absolutely love the questions that you ask our team on a daily basis, and I particularly liked this one. You asked, is there a nice way to say mean things? Even though I wouldn't particularly ask the question in that same way that you did, I love your honesty. In fact, if I could ask a quick variation of that question, I would say, can I be honest and kind? Or even, how can I be honest without being mean? I think these are key questions because in this life, man, you are going to have so many critical conversations, and your ability, your skill, and it is a skill that you can practice to communicate in a way that is effective, clear, and productive is essential, not just for your success in school and work, but perhaps even more importantly, in your personal relationships and in your friendships. This is a valid question and one that I am excited to put some time and attention to. So let me begin by answering the question right away. Absolutely, there's a way for you to be honest, and at the same time for you to be respectful, kind, considerate, and honorable. I actually find that a lot of adults are not this way right now. A lot of adults, especially those who are in really visible positions, whether they be politics or show business or TV, I think are more in the business of hearing themselves talk, drawing attention to themselves, or going around picking fights and creating drama. Look, I know that this isn't everyone, and I don't want to stereotype and generalize, but I find that sometimes these individuals hide behind the excuse of, well, I'm just speaking what's on my mind, or I'm speaking what I feel. But honestly, this isn't a very reasonable explanation, and I will tell you why. Just because you think or feel something, just because you have an opinion, doesn't mean that that opinion is accurate, true, or sometimes even helpful. Now, I've been a therapist for 20 years, and I've made a living out of speaking and using words. I've shared my opinion, my beliefs, millions of times now. And I have some basic advice on how to do that in the best way. Because in the end, if I'm going to share something with someone, I would at least like to increase the chance that it's going to be received well, and to do whatever I can to invite an open mind and an open heart. So how do we do this? How do we share it? Well, let me tell you in 5 short tips. 1, lead with humility. My awesome friends. Man, I believe that in this world, we need a humility movement. I want to have a parade. I want to wave some flags as well, but I want to do it in the name of humility. It's important for you to express yourself, your ideas, your opinions, your requests, your honest statements in a humble way. Remember that just because you have an opinion, it doesn't mean that it's accurate. So present it with that in mind. You can do this by simply adding the expression, look, it's just my opinion. That's how I see it. I may not be right, but this is what it looks like to me. Or I realize that you may not think or feel the way that I do, but this is what I believe needs to be done. Let me tell you why this matters so much. When you approach conversations from a place of humility, from a place of, I could be wrong, and there's a lot that I don't know, I believe that people are more receptive. I believe that their heart and mind become a little softer and open instead of closed and defensive. So if you're looking to be honest with a friend or a parent or a sibling, lead with humility. Place your ego aside and present your ideas in a humble way. 2, check your tone and words. Look, there are words that we use that are straight up explosive and immediately place people on the defense. If you approach people with your guns blazing like a machine gun, chances are that that conversation is not going to be terribly effective. If you're calling people names and dropping the F-bomb, just realize that those words don't invite and promote a peaceful conversation. Those are let's have a war words, and most likely that's exactly what you're going to get. So instead of raising your voice and throwing around emotional grenades at the other person, do what you can to keep calm and a cool voice and use words that are less likely to produce a firestorm. This is what's called a soft startup, and it is one of the most important skills that you will learn as you work through some of the conflict and the negotiations in your life. Practice it and become a pro at it, my friend. 3, use a preface or an introduction. Do you know how at the beginning of books you sometimes have that little introduction or preface? You know, something that basically tells you what you're about to read? Well, If you're about to have a difficult conversation, sometimes it's really useful to prepare the other person. So if you want to have a difficult conversation with a parent, sibling, friend, or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, let them know. Hey, I want to talk to you about something that's important or that's difficult. Can we talk about something that's hard a little bit later? Or even, I have something important to talk to you about. When is it good for you? I know that these are my words, and I'm sure that you'll say it a million times better than I do, but trust me, this is an important step to help you to be honest and to come across in a kind and respectful way. Plus, it sets the stage for it to be a better conversation instead of ending up in a screaming match or with hurt feelings. Number 4, ask for permission. My goal is for you to become an extraordinary communicator. I believe that what you think and what you have to say matters. I believe it's important. That's why I'm giving you these tools, so that when you open your mouth and express your thoughts and opinions, they'll be more likely to be heard and considered. A great way to keep people's hearts and minds open to you is to ask for permission to share an opinion or an observation. I remember once traveling to a soccer game with my boy and me asking him, "Hey, Jones," that's what I call him, "can I give you a suggestion for today's game?" And guess what? Guess what he said? That son of a gun, he said no. But you know what? I totally respected that. And by the way, guess what happened? He ultimately relented and said, "All right, Dad, what do you want to tell me?" And then I did share my thoughts with him. So if you have advice to give or a suggestion or feedback that you want to share or a hard conversation that needs to happen, ask for permission. Put your ego aside. You're not talking just to talk or to hear yourself talk. You're doing it to be effective. So give it a try. 5, use the crap sandwich approach. I know that's gross, but just hear me out for a second. I'm not trying to be gross. This is actually a pretty common technique that a lot of people use and that I feel is something that you can begin to use right away, and I think it'll be good. If your goal is to be honest and to do so in a respectful and effective way, then this is something that you can use anytime. The crap sandwich basically means that you start in a soft and respectful way, then you give the advice or suggestion or feedback, and then you finish with something else that's complimentary or kind or even hopeful. Let me give you an example. Layla, it's my daughter. Layla, I love having you as a friend. You've been there for me, and honestly, I've learned a lot from you. But lately, and here comes the crap, you've ignored me and treated me like crap. Look, I think you're awesome. Here's the other end, right? And I would love to stay friends. Is there something going on? Did I do something wrong? What's the problem? Now you can totally tell me and be honest. So here's the key. Start soft, give the feedback, and end soft. That's the crap sandwich. What do you think? I mean, use it when it's appropriate, but I feel it's a good tool that you can use to be respectful and kind to others instead of going around burning bridges all the time. My friend, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm telling you, most of the problems and issues that people face in relationships come down to communication, and more importantly, miscommunication. There are so many skills that you can learn, right, that can help you to say mean things in a nice way. That was your question. Or how I would say it, to be honest in a kind and respectful way. Remember that your goal is not just to hear your own voice. It's not just to speak what's on your mind, but to do so in a way that is effective, smart, and that can be received by others. Lead with humility. It begins with you. Set the tone for the conversation and work hard to keep it respectful, to keep it kind, to keep it understanding, and you will find yourself with so much more success and honestly much happier as well, because the quality of your relationships will go up. One last thing. If you have to leave a relationship or a friendship, do things in a way that allow you to end those relationships with your heart, your mind, and your hands clean. The way that you do that is by handling it with clarity and class. There's a great quote that says, "Clear is kind and unclear is unkind." Step into these conversations when they're necessary and use these tools. Let me know how it goes. And please feel free to share this with your friends, with your family, because guess what? They could use these tools. Anyways, remember, you are going to lead this humility movement. That's what I want.